Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic: global coronavirus pandemic. Well, the coronavirus is now creeping among us, always and everywhere, and this looks to be a real deal sort of virus. And the only way to beat it back is to smartly test every single person in the world repeatedly, and to stay away from each other for a while. Remote relationships, remote working, that's all going to be the new everyday realities for the white-collar worker, while service workers will be left to rot by the bayside, without the opportunity to serve anyone, because all their clients and customers are staying home, away from them and away from each other. Movies, travel, Broadway shows, professional sporting events, they're all going to have to find a way to go virtual and be entertaining, while still making money charging for that experience. And it's going to be a long road, this coronavirus pathogen pathway, and our lives will be irreversibly changed, and our economy will never be the same again. Not worse, not better, just permanently different. Change is good. Change is okay. Change is inevitable. Change is the one way forward. This week I was visiting our local post office, and on my way out of the building, I saw a woman standing outside the glass door, and she was holding a soapy sponge in her hand. And she saw me through the glass door, and she sort of waved at me, indicating she wanted me to push open the door for her. Well, because I was wary of that soapy sponge in her hand, I did not open the door. So the woman grabbed the handle of the door, using the soapy sponge, and she pulled it open. When she entered the post office, I asked her if that was a soapy, wet sponge in her hand that she had used to open the door, and she nodded and said, matter-of-factly, yeah, I'm not going to be sick. I don't touch any foreign surfaces with my bare hand. And then, as if on cue, she proceeded to slip on the soapy water dripping from her hand. And she did not fall or trip. She caught herself mid-slide by grabbing the other door handle with her non-soapy, sponged hand. Coronavirus lives to fight another day. And my human meme friend, all of this coronavirus pandemic global panic reminds me of the time I was teaching public health at UMDNJ, the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey, now known as Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, RNJMS. No, not really RNJMS, just Rutgers Medical School. And the class I was teaching at the time was called Public Health Crises Reflected in the Humanities. And in that class, we would read plays and stories and investigate dramas and movies that demonstrated just how public health was addressed and worked in fiction, and how those imaginary threats became real in our lives, and how those issues were best dramatized for the best effect in our culture and mainstream media. These dramatic pieces are teaching memes. We are entertained while also learning. And one of the original classroom discussions I curated was the following scenario I invented. And now, 10 years later, this scenario is even more relevant if we change the plague to coronavirus. And now I'll let you play along this scenario with me. This is the scene. You are a doctor in a small-town clinic who has been given 3 magic pills that can defeat the plague, coronavirus. You have no nurses, no support staff. Most everyone you know in town is dead. You are now in charge of a small, rural medical clinic with lots of sick people who are on the verge of dying. And if you get the plague, you die. If you take a magic pill, you live. But these magic pills are in short supply, and the clock is ticking against you. You are married with a child. Your child and your spouse are an hour away. They are infected. They will not live long enough to get to you to get the magic pills. You know they are dead and gone. You are emotionally devastated, but logically you know you still have a job to do. You now have exactly 15 seconds to decide which of the following 5 people will get 3 of your magic pills. In 16 seconds, the plague becomes unstoppable and irreversible in these people, and all people without that magic pill of yours will die. The first decision you make is this. You take one of the magic pills yourself. You rationalize this, saying to yourself, you know you have to live in order to help the others survive. The others who will get the remaining now 2 magic pills that you hold. Here are the people before you. Their lives are in your hand. Their lives in the 2 pills, magic pills, you're holding in your hand. A toddler, a soldier, a priest, a grave digger, and a public health worker. You now have 5 seconds to give over the pills, and you have to explain to those you did not choose why you decided they will die, and they will die. Now, side note, in class we act this all out dramatically. We take turns. We do it in real time with the students playing all the parts and a timer. There's no right answer, really. The task reveals the logic of the student making the decision. Time's up. You are now handing out the 2 pills. You have made your decision. But then, just as you are about to drop the 2 pills into the outstretched palms of the 2 patients you are saving, your mother walks into the clinic. And she tells you that she is sick with the plague. And she says to you, "Give me one of those magic pills." Now, what do? Time slows, time stops, the world goes fuzzy and hazy, and that, my human meme friend, is when the real teaching begins, because the students, my students, who had logically and deftly and dutifully decided who will live and who must die, are now faced with the personal, emotional trauma of seeing their mother in distress before them in the living flesh, needing a magic pill, a pill the student controls, to save her life. What do? Do you take a pill away from one of those you said could live just seconds ago just to save your mother now? Or do you let your mother die? And yes, your mother dies because of the decision you made. A decision that was already announced. Well, it turns out the appearance of the mother wrecks everything. 90% of the students over the years took away a magic pill from one person they were saving and gave that pill to their elderly mother. And they rationalized it away deftly and instantly. "It's my mother." And they said the others will be dead in seconds, so the dead really can't protest too much about being stuck in an unfair process. Other student analysis of the people who needed the magic pill generally over the years broke down this way. 100% of students saved the toddler. They say the toddler is the future. The child will be raised by the others who take the magic pill. The soldier is 100% allowed to die. They are trained to fight. They don't fear death. They'll get over it, the student thinking goes. All students said the priest, 100% dead. With nobody alive, nobody will really need to be absolved or counseled about anything. Society reboots and starts all over again. 90% of the students saved the grave digger. Logically, they say someone with experience will need to know how to safely get rid of all the dead bodies in town. And they say that is a talent only the gravedigger knows and understands how to implement. And then, about 10% save the public health worker. Students rationalize they will need to tend to more sick people as society reboots and readvances. And the students say it's easier to do that with someone who has the same background and training as you. And so, my human meme friend, here we are in the year 2020 with the coronavirus challenging the all of us, the us of us, deciding who lives and who dies. And the public health system is stuck and already overwhelmed and struggling to contain the outbreak without one magic pill. And we do know that in the end, who gets to live and who is abandoned to die, and who deserves the ventilator, and who claims the right to a bed in a hospital, and all those questions will ultimately be decided by doctors and nurses and politicians and public health workers who were, at one time in their lives, just like those students of mine. And you had better hope you are either a toddler or a gravedigger, or the mother of the one holding a magic pill in their hand, so that you might be the chosen one, chosen to live and not die. Because that is the reality of all of this life. Because life isn't fair. Because life is arbitrary and capricious. Life is always emotional and rarely logical. And because your life is not even your own now, you never have your life in your own hands when it really matters. And life is just only about one thing: change. Change and being changed. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.